I'm a defensive lineman and you're a wide receiver. Our emotions are going to be out there on our sleeves all the time. You don't really want that with the quarterback position, right?
That's right. He has to be a different guy. He has to be your leader. When things are going the wrong way, you got to be able to look to somebody. And that's the head coach. That's your quarterback. And they are the guys that should be able to keep this thing on the right track. And Jalen is that type of leader.
Blacker Loose says this, man. The Eagles make the playoffs. Is Nick Siriani the NFL Coach of the Year? It's a great question. I think it's either him or Belichick. Right? You know, everybody a couple weeks ago was talking Cliff Kingsbury, Belichick until they got beat by the Colts on Saturday. And now all of a sudden you see Sirianni, rookie coach, Kobayashi stuff, all the rest of this, man. And now we're seeing this. This has been an absolutely fantastic performance here. And guys, we're so privileged to be able to get him on after the game. And our friend Mike Quick joins us right now. And boy, I tell you, man, 27-17 last night after spotting the Washington team 10 points last night at home. They were able to rally, and it just shows you the intestinal fortitude of this team. Mike, let me ask you, man, what's been the difference from the beginning of the season to where the Eagles are right now on how they've been able to square this record up at 7-7 and get themselves in a playoff contention?
Dan, I think there are a lot of factors. I think you would have to begin with the offensive line and the O-line coach, Jeff Stoutland, because if you look at the talent on this O-line, I think it's as good as any offensive line in football. And the guy who's orchestrating that O-line, Jeff Stoutland, one of the brightest minds in the National Football League in terms of run blocking schemes. And that's really the crux of it. Now, the defense, they've matured some in the defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, and understanding who his players are and things that they do well. But the big turnaround in this football team has been the fact that the O-line can dominate the line of scrimmage. And they have these guys that are just – they're monsters. A guy, Jordan Mailata, he's 6'8". He's almost 400 pounds. Lane Johnson is a big old man, but he actually looks small next to Jordan Mailata. And I think the Eagles have the best center in all of football in Jason Kelce. The things that he does in terms of getting everybody on the right page at the line of scrimmage and then blocking at the line of scrimmage, and then the way they move him out on the perimeter blocks that he provides, all of the space that he provides on the perimeter, it's a big deal, and it really has mattered in what they've done over the past few weeks.
Mike, do you think this line is as good as that 17 line?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
I do. I just think that so if you look at the two guards, they've gone down. So they lost Brooks. They lost Brandon Brooks. They lost Isaac. They lost
Dickerson for the COVID.
They've lost 4 guys
on
the offensive line. And the guys that stepped in last night and played, Nate Herbig on one side and Sua Opeta on the other side, they were fantastic. And I think it all goes back to the coaching of Jeff Stoutland, and he has a great group of guys. They can go 7-8 deep on the O-line, and they don't have a problem.
How about this, Mike, here? You know, the question today nationally, and it's been thrown around here, is Hurts the future with the Philadelphia Eagles? Boy, I'll tell you what I love about his resolve, he bounces back from a horrible game to put up that performance, and I don't care who's on the field. You and I know this. That's not our responsibility for whatever happens with Washington. Unfortunate with COVID, I get it. Everyone's got to deal with this. So if everything and everyone has to deal with it, we're all in the same boat here with that. So whoever's lined up against me is a professional guy that I have to go out and do my job with. He's put up numbers now, and you know, they're winning ball games, and his resolve is just looking. And I guess I'm going to throw this question into this here. Do you think he's done enough where the front office now doesn't take one of those first rounders and drafts a quarterback?
So I don't think that there is this sure first rounder. There's no Trevor Lawrence. There are none of these guys that you know are going to be able to step into the National Football League and and you know they're going to be because they were blue chip in college, they're going to come to the NFL and they're going to be able to play the same way. I don't think you have that in this draft. I think they still want to see more from Jalen Hurts, but I think he's showing you quite a bit. And you mentioned the resolve. I think that's one of his major assets. The fact that it doesn't matter the situation. He's always poised and he's always flatlined. He doesn't get extremely high when he's having a big day. And like last night's game, I thought it was fantastic. But if you listen to him, it's flatline. He's not excited about it. And in those games when he hasn't played well, you go back to the Giants game and he played terrible, but he faced the music. He talked about all of his mistakes, and he's just ready to go back to work and fix the wrongs whenever things don't go well. I really like the character of this man. I can look at some of the stat lines and not necessarily like and appreciate that. But when I see the man and the way that he handles himself and the way that everybody around him looks at him and want to be with that guy, and the way that the players think of this guy, that tells me a whole lot about the man.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, the resolve and I love that Tony Dungy mentality. I never get too high for the highs and never get too lows for the lows. And that's the kind. Hey, I'm a defensive lineman and you're a wide receiver. Our emotions are going to be out there on our sleeves all the time. You don't really want that with the quarterback position, right?
That's right. He has to be a different guy. He has to be your leader. When things are going the wrong way, you got to be able to look to somebody. And that's the head coach. That's your quarterback. And they are the guys that should be able to keep this thing on the right track. And Jalen is that type of leader.
I want to throw some numbers at you too, Mike, since week 8 of the NFL here. The Eagles, 29.3 in points scored. They're second in the league. Yep. 388 in total yards. This is since week 8. That's second in the league. 214 yards rushing. That's number 1. Here's the big one. Third down efficiency, 51.6. You're over 50%. Hell, you're over 45%. You're going to be winning ball games. That's first in the NFL. And here's the shocker. Since week 8, they're number 1 in the league in explosion plays. I mean, Nick Siriani, he gets his team to the postseason. We're talking coach of the year. Have you been surprised on how he's been able to have a bumpy start at the beginning here and kind of settle the waters a little bit in Philadelphia with this team?
So I'll tell you how surprised I've been. Have you seen the show Ted Lasso?
Yes. So
some of the writers around here early on, they were calling him Ted Lasso because he just seemed like a guy that was in the wrong place. And sometimes when he spoke, you didn't understand quite what he was talking about. But yes, I have been so pleasantly surprised, and just the way that this guy has gotten this team to play for him. So I knew all along that he's smart, that he's football smart, knows a lot of football, but you don't always understand or know how a guy is going to be as a leader of men. And right now he's proving to be a very good leader of men. And that's what you have to have in the National Football League. And as I said earlier, when things aren't going well, you got to be able to look to that head coach. When things are fantastic, still, that's the guy. Your head coach has got to be the guy.
The running game has picked up. Miles Sanders has done well here. And we're looking at here now a second straight game, Mike, where he's gone over 100 yards. And I believe he had 35 yards rushing in this game. And he's becoming a focal point in this game here. Yep. Give me a little bit of insight on what you see of him ability-wise. You think he is also the future face of that position for Philadelphia?
Miles Sanders?
Yes.
I think he's just outstanding. He does a lot of things well. No one ever talks about how well he blocks in pass protection, but he's such a freaking great runner of the football. One flaw, I think he'll bounce too much. I like seeing him north-south because he's such a good runner. But this offensive line, when they get him to the second level, there's always a big play that's possible. He's always a big play just waiting to happen when you get him through the line of scrimmage.
The Jalen Reagor showed up on the stat sheet last night too. 3 catches, 57 yards, and I know everyone's dumping on him, including me. I've kind of hit on him. kind of not fighting back to the ball. We see some of the young things that some receivers make. Rounding routes off is never a positive there. But can he right the ship? I mean, not superior stats last night, but that's not what they were trying to do. He made critical plays when they needed. Can he right the ship, in your opinion, or, again, still a long haul climbing up that mountain?
So I think he's in the right system, the right setting to right the ship, because they're going to continue to feed him. He's the number 1 draft pick, so you're going to give him every opportunity to be successful. And watching Jalen Hurts grows, it actually is going to help Jalen Reagor. So they kind of work hand in hand. The one big play that he had down the sideline, I think it was a 34-yard. It was 3rd and 6. Jalen Hurts goes to the line of scrimmage, and he knows that they're going to blitz him. He resets everybody, changes the play, and he throws that quick screen out to Jalen Reagor. He gets a block in front of him, and he goes, for 30-some yards. And that play really helped to seal the game. The growth of Jalen Hurts, married with what Jalen Reagor can do when put in the right situation, I think it's just a sweet thing that we're going to be able to watch for a long time around here.
2 last questions for you here. Dallas Goedert is starting to become more involved. Is that just because of the comfortable place that Jalen is now becoming with the offense? I mean, working everybody in, plus it's a running attack. Mike, I don't think people realize how tough that is when your identity is running the ball and you're trying to get targets to guys too, and you're trying to move the chains. They're being able to move the chains because they're in 3rd and short so many more times. And with the running game being the way it is, has that helped his emergence because they have been in 3rd and short and the tight end position is now becoming open because Jalen's seeing it better?
Well, I think it's part of the growth of Jalen, but, man, Dallas Goedert is a great football player, not good. I think he's going to be in the elite class of tight ends in the National Football League in a short period of time. And what really has helped him, in my opinion, is the fact that Zach Ertz is no longer here. And without Zach Ertz, he has now an opportunity to blossom and show that he is the guy. And he is the go-to guy at that position. And as you know, for a quarterback, when you've got a tight end that's right there that you can feed the ball to, it makes the passing game a whole lot easier and a whole lot simpler because it's that easy throw that's usually right in the middle and right in your face.
I think there was a moment finally here. I think there was a last night that maybe fans in Philly and maybe fans across the country that saw the game probably went, oh my God, did you see that moment? And it was when Siriani came over to him and had a personal moment with him when he said, you're being reckless with the football. I absolutely loved it because that made me know right there that head coach has to have a personal relationship with that quarterback to be able to do that. And you and I know this, Mike. When coaches don't talk to you, that's when you have to worry your ass if you're going to be on the roster or not. But when somebody's doing something like that, because, hey, Mike, real quick, Jimmy Johnson came over to me once, and he's hollering at me for something. He's hollering. And I looked at Jimmy, and I go, why the hell are you hollering at me all the time? He goes, worry when I'm not.
Yeah,
and I went,
that's right.
Holy cow.
That's
so
right.
That was a moment last night, wasn't
it
it, for the team and galvanized the group, I thought.
Well, if they're hollering at you, you know you got a chance. But here's the thing about that. I was really happy to see that, and mainly because I think the quarterback position, they're coddled way too much. And if you're going to get the best out of this young man, and I think for most quarterbacks, I think they want to be coached. I think they need to be coached. And I think when you coddle quarterbacks, you're going down a road that's a slippery slope that it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for the other players to see. It's not a good thing for the growth of that particular person.
Do you think Carson Wentz could have handled that last year?
No, he could not. No. And I don't think the Eagles could have come back and won that game if that same scenario had happened. And it's Carson.
Wow. Okay. Mike, I appreciate it. By the way, Seth Joyner said to say hi, and he says this, between you and Gary Cobb, I don't know who the mayor of Philly is, but you could pick between one of them two dudes.
well, Seth is slowly moving his way in. He's wedging his way in for sure.
Thank you so much, and have a Merry Christmas this weekend, Mike. Thank you so much for finding time for us.
Merry Christmas, Dan. Take care.
Thank you, sir, very much. That is Mike Quick, part of the broadcast team for the Philadelphia Eagles. Did you hear that, guys? Mike Quick just said if that was Carson Wentz last year, the Eagles do not come back and win that game, and there is no way they would have had that exchange on the sidelines. Hit the like button. We'll expand on that thought. You keep it here on the National Football Show.